The Tennessee Three. The three Tennessee lawmakers who disrupted a session at the state capitol to advocate for gun control measures are now political celebrities. If you regularly watch the news, you know their faces, you may even know their names. Now, I've made it clear it was a really dumb move by Tennessee Republicans to try to expel them for this sort of minor infraction. They're all now back in their jobs, but are they really the heroes that many in the media and now even the White House are making them out to be? After all, their protest came as a result of last month's school shooting in Nashville, which was prevented from becoming even more of a tragedy by the real Tennessee Three. Nashville Detective Sergeant Jeff Mathis, Detective Michael Colazzo, Officer Rex Engelbert, three of the officers who ran toward the bullets to take out the shooter at the Covenant School last month within 14 minutes of getting the call. And yet we now learn that Representative Justin Pearson, Representative Justin Jones, and Representative Gloria Johnson are heading to the White House to meet with President Biden on Monday. And that begs the question, well, if they're being invited, why haven't the officers who stopped the shooter, or even the families of the 6 victims, 3 of them children, been invited to the White House? Seems like a fair question, and it's one that Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre was asked by Fox News White House correspondent Peter Doocy today.
One more. So Monday, you're going to have 3 of the lawmakers who protested
peacefully protested.
Who peacefully protested after the Nashville Covenant School shooting. Have any of the victims or the victims' families been invited to the White House?
I don't have anything to read out to you about any invite.
Why?
I just don't have anything at this time to read out to you any invite. What I can say to you right now is that the president is focused on getting things done.
I don't think this is just Fox News stirring up phony outrage. I mean, it comes after Vice President Harris already went down to Nashville to celebrate them.
So I want to start by recognizing the Tennessee Three. They chose to show courage in the face of an extreme tragedy.
The 3 politicians have become media darlings. They've been mentioned 2,767 times on the 3 major cable news networks. Compare that to the 34 mentioned the hero cops got. Politicians have gotten more than 80 times the attention. There was even what amounted to a sort of live coronation after one of them was reinstated.
What a moving speech, what moving events in Tennessee.
These young men are folk heroes now. Yeah. They're TikTok viral now.
So they're heroes. The 3 Tennessee Democrats disrupted proceedings on the floor of the State House chamber in a protest calling for stricter gun control laws. Republicans there vastly overreacted by expelling 2 of them. The punishment didn't remotely fit the crime. Jones and Pearson have already been reappointed to their seats. That's the right thing to do. Whether you like it or not, they were duly elected. But heroism and bravery and courage and some of the other terms that have been thrown around to describe the Tennessee Three, ultimately what they did was create disorder. And now they're being honored with a White House visit while the officers and the families are largely ignored. Joining me now is Ameshia Cross, former White House communications staffer under President Obama and a political analyst for Sirius XM. Thanks for coming back on the program. Appreciate it. Am I being unfair? And if so, why?
I think you are, because this juxtaposition is interesting to me. The 3 officers, I respect them. I think that the whole of America respects them. They did what they should have done in being able to quell the violence, being able to do what the officers in Uvalde were not able to do in Texas. And those people, they got their just service at the time. This is the job they signed up for. This is something they were prepared to do. And quite frankly, the state of Tennessee and people across the country shouted them out on social media and across other spaces during the time that the video was released when we saw their heroism. But they still have their jobs. In the Tennessee Three situation, 2 of those people, the 2 black guys who happened to be there, were actively expelled for protesting. The most pure form of democracy in this country is a protest. So I think you would have a better served argument if those 3 officers who are heroes were then removed as officers from the police department and then had to be reinstated. But that's not what happened.
So for
the reason that we're seeing the Tennessee Three get attention is because of the actions of the Tennessee Republican Party.
So let me be clear. So to you, it is more heroic that they disrupted a proceeding at the Tennessee State House than the officers who ran towards bullets. I mean, that's what it sounds like you're saying.
That wasn't my argument at all. I said that at the end of the day, those officers who ran against those bullets, I credit them for their heroism, but those officers were still officers the next day.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.